You live.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 307 podcast. We're glad you're here. Whether you're watching live on the YouTube channel or listening via audio, welcome back to the 307 podcast, or welcome to the 307 podcast possibly for the first time. You know, I forgot that sometimes there are people who tune in to the podcast for the first time. I forgot that happened. So if you don't know who you're dealing with here, I'm Chad Rite. I'm part of the podcast. I've got the priest from the east, Priest Cornbread, sitting to my right side. Priest Cornbread, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, sir.
Are you a traveling man?
You know it.
Today he has sunburned lips. He might not be able to talk much. His lips have been swollen. He's preparing for Pride Month by swelling his lips up.
Holy smokes.
And then over here to my left-hand side, I have the Pope Chili. If you guys don't know about Pope Chili, then I don't know what's wrong with you. He is the Pope of all things. He will bless you or curse you.
He's got his lips pursed
really
up right
depends.
now, too.
Yeah.
He called my cat.
Yeah, his lips stay like that. And then behind the computer over here, we have the tech guy, Blake, who's supposed to make all of this stuff work, but he makes it work about half the time. And he's also supposed to be monitoring you guys' comments. He's also supposed to be like, as we're talking about things, he's supposed to be looking stuff up, you know, so he can provide some information on the topics that we discuss here on the podcast. He does all of that about half the time, okay? So those are the people, the four people who are hosting the podcast today that you're listening to.
Well, you didn't make any comments about yourself.
Yeah, I said I'm Chad Wright. I'm part of the podcast.
Well, yeah, but you gave a little snippet of everybody else.
Yeah, I've been doing podcasts for quite a while. I am
shows up about a quarter of the time.
I'm actually a cardinal in the Catholic what is it? The Catholic Church. I'm a cardinal. Blake, I forgot to announce his official position within the Catholic Church. He is the bishop.
No,
That's another thing that he does. Besides his tech duties, he's supposed to count the money. All right?
I do count the
and
money.
now he does count the money. He counts the dang money.
I give you all kind of money and stuff.
He counts the money. You know, Jeff Cochran tried to pull out $100 bill on me yesterday, and I scoffed at him. How are you going to, I mean, really, man, Jeff, really, you're going to try to give me $100 for real? Like,
what an insult.
That's a disgrace.
What an
You
insult.
might as well toss me a freaking worthless penny, dude. You're going to try to give me $100, man. Don't ever do that to me again, Jeff Cochran. $100.
If it ain't banded, you don't want it, do you?
You act like I'm some freaking poor from Alabama with a garden out in my front yard living in a single wide trailer.
Rubber band man, son.
Yeah. Do not pull money out on me unless you're going to pull out and offer me at least at a minimum a 10 stack. All right? Because I'll take $100 and just flush it down the toilet, man.
10 stack.
I just felt really disgraced by that he thought I was on that level. Well, $100 level.
Was he paying you for something?
Well, we all went out and ate dinner last night. Me, Jeff, Tracy, Chili, and Coco. And I paid for dinner, obviously, because I'm rich. And Jeff tried to give me $100 for dinner. Like,
well, that must have been the value of his and Tracy's dinner.
He wasn't donating like he giving the Salvation Army.
It doesn't matter if it's the value of his dinner or not. The point is that the value is so insignificant that it's not even appropriate to offer that to me.
So he should give you $1,000.
Yes,
for his $100 dinner.
Yes, if he wanted to make a gesture, he could have given me 1,000 and I wouldn't have been offended.
I got you.
stack.
I got you.
So that's another thing about me. I'm rich. Get over it, man.
Rich and humble.
If you don't like it,
Humble. He's humble.
That's a Kid Rock song.
Humble.
Rich and humble.
Rich and humble.
well, I go back and forth between being rich and poor. It really just depends on what day it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends on what day it is. All of this is in my imagination. So if I'm being just totally honest with you guys. So that's a little bit about myself. Is that enough, Blake? I don't really know what the cardinal does within the Catholic group either.
Well, not much. You pretty much hit it on the head.
You know what the
do it well.
the Catholic, I mean
I know what they do.
The cardinal actually makes sure everybody has their vestments in order and up to regulation standard.
The cardinal speaks, and the cardinal casts out under direct authority from the Pope. That's what you do.
Dang,
the bishop counts the money, and the priest is more of your regulator, your regulatory commission.
Yeah.
He keeps everybody
Sergeant at arms.
Yeah, keeps everybody straight.
Dang.
You in charge of speaking and casting out.
Okay. Under the direction of the Pope, obviously, yeah.
You only speak when I tell you.
It's a big job. I mean, I've never really known what I was supposed to do, but I'm glad I know now, and I was just doing it all along. That must have been why you deemed me as the cardinal.
Well, that's correct.
So, here sits before you the Catholics. Anyways, that's your introduction to us here on the podcast. All right, looks like the live stream's still working, so I guess we can continue on. This particular episode is, if you guys don't know, we have a very select few partners who we are in relationship with and we support, and they support us here at 307 Project. And one of those long-time partners that we have is HOIST. Right there it is. This stuff right here, it actually hydrates you better than water, which is good for some of us need a hydration supplement. Some of us here do inspiring things.
Man, when we was fishing, you remember how much HOIST we drank?
I drunk 3 bottles of them cherry HOIST.
Well, that's just because you were bored. That's because you were bored. What do you do when you're fishing? You get bored, and so you eat and just drink.
Crank the reel, son. Crank the reel from the depths of the grimy deep. Pulling up them big boys.
So some of us here at 307 Project go on fishing trips and like vacations and stuff. Some of us, me and the Pope specifically, me and the Pope,
ease today.
We do inspiring things where we get out and actually, like go on a multi-day mountain bike ride or a multi-day 250-mile run or, maybe 100-mile run. If we're just
things he's done.
If we're just feeling kind of, just like we want to get out and pedal a little bit, we might go run 100 miles or, so some of us here do those things. So we need a beverage that hydrates us and replenishes our depleted stores of salt and things like that. And that's what HOIST does for us. These are awesome people. This is made in America, battlefield tested, warfighter approved. HOIST is more than just a beverage. It's battlefield proven IV level hydration that is trusted by soldiers to keep them hydrated longer than water. HOIST absorbs instantly and replenishes the body immediately to keep you powering through the next objective, mission, rep, or lap. Yes, I would agree with that. It does absorb very quickly into your body. It doesn't upset your stomach. It tastes great. There's multiple different flavors, and they are huge supporters of our military in a tangible way. Actually, we have a student coming out to the ROP course here soon that was sponsored by HOIST. And this student, we know him well. He is a U.S. Navy veteran, and HOIST has done this on many occasions in partnership with 307 Project. So they really have been a unique company in the sense that they don't just say They support our veteran community and our service members and this type of stuff, but they actually follow through with it and put their money where their mouth is. Check them out at drinkhoist.com. That's one of the ways that you can support the show here and support the channel is by supporting the companies that we are partnered with here. And Hoist is the right as of now is our longest remaining partner, right?
Yep.
Yeah, longest remaining partner. So thank you guys. Check them out. drinkhoist.com. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Okay. So, you guys went on this fishing trip. Look, y'all aren't just going to sit here and stare at me today. Okay? Y'all went on a fishing trip. It sounds like, it sounds...
Golly, I'll do what I want.
It sounds like y'all did some, whatever you do on it. What do you even do on a fishing trip? Just tell us about what happened, okay? Because I have been ticked off that for the last 3 days, y'all have been on vacation. Cornbread and Blake have been nothing but a thorn in my side. They haven't been here to do any work. Me and Chili have been doing all the work around here. The only things that have been getting done is being getting done by me and Chili because y'all have been out fishing. And then y'all show back up and have the gall to send me a text yesterday saying, oh, we might have to pack orders instead of doing Team PT on Wednesday because we've been on vacation for a stinking week. Y'all had the gall to send me a text like that? Are y'all serious? Did y'all gonna send me a text telling me, Blake, that you got to pack orders in the morning instead of doing Team PT? What the crap?
Speak, Bishop.
You have the gall to send me that? Y'all know what we do on Wednesday mornings. We Team PT. And because y'all been on vacation and y'all have gotten behind on your orders, don't expect me to not get my dang PT, and I'm over here sitting with a busted, frogged out leg, and I'm still going to PT. And don't try to ask me to not get my dang PT in because y'all have been out gallivanting around on a stinking boat somewhere.
Well, nobody said you couldn't Team PT.
It's not Team PT without the team, Cornbread.
Oh, I know that. Oh, that's why me and Blake did those extra rounds because you was over there sad sacking laying on the bench.
Yeah,
and
me and Blake, bench press.
Me and Blake said, let's do something for Chad because he ain't hitting on much.
I'm sitting over here with a frogged out leg, man.
Know, really.
If you injured, you don't need to be in there at all. All right, you're just hurting yourself worse.
That's right.
I don't stop, Bubba.
Well, it shows. Look at you, busted up, broke down, disabled.
Look, I used to pack orders around here.
Well, you wasn't packing them this morning at 5:30 when I was.
Well, look.
I opened the door this morning, and this joint looked exactly the same way it looked when I walked out the door Friday evening.
Well, look,
and you showed up late. And you showed up late to the podcast.
I started packing orders in the basement years ago, man. I used to write handwritten notes. I used to pack orders every day.
You did not. You packed orders for 1 day.
When I packed orders, I never took a single vacation.
That must have been that message from that dude on Patreon talking about that shirt balled up in that package. Must have been the one Chad sent him that time.
Yeah.
Balled up like a dish rag.
Well, let me tell you, I still pack orders. You pack any lately?
Look.
No.
We all start packing orders. We all start off packing orders. I started off packing orders. Chili, you started off packing orders. Cornbread, you started off packing orders. But look, when it's your job to pack orders, Blake, you still pack orders because you look, you don't even do nothing around here. Yeah, of course you still pack orders. When it's your job to pack orders, it don't mean you go on stinking fishing trips when the orders are coming in, man.
Blake packs orders. That's the one that was balled up. Was Blake.
It might have been. He did pack a hoodie the other day that looked like a slice of watermelon.
Yeah, you can't let you look, you got
I'll pack orders how I want to pack orders, when I want to pack orders, and if I don't want to pack orders, I won't pack orders. You see, I show up when I want to, and I leave when I want to.
Well,
that's right.
So all of that being said, I will formally counsel both of you after the podcast. Okay? about
I
that.
got something.
Well, you better
counsel?
be wound tight, son.
Well,
you better be banjo tight.
I can bust you in the knee.
Well, you guys.
I've been to the east.
Yeah.
That's something he don't know.
That's right.
He don't know nothing about the East.
After the podcast, I will formally counsel both of you about that text this morning trying to skip Team PT.
Ping. Are you a traveling man?
No, I work, Blake.
Whoa, whoa.
Huh?
I work, Bubba.
Well, there you have it, Corn. He's not a traveling man.
I know it.
That's his problem.
So you guys went down to do this fishing trip with Garrison Rosie.
Yeah.
Is he a podcast listener?
Yeah, he listens to podcasts. Yeah, he's a runner.
Yeah. So how'd it go? Talk to me about your vacation. What's the story? What went down?
Well, first
Did
off,
anything
we ain't
big
going to
happen?
call it no vacation.
Did anything big happen?
It's a scouting trip.
It was a scouting
It
trip.
was a scouting trip for the Hurricane 300. We talked to the guy that got second place down there.
Beat the brakes off of you.
I mean, he said he come by you and you look like just a dang hermit crab piled up beside the river.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you ain't going to talk about my buddy like that. And he backed up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I took up for you down there. And then he went to explaining the rest of the race.
Yeah.
He
said-
don't know nothing about that race. That fella y'all talked to don't know nothing about that race.
He told us
didn't
every mile.
He didn't even do that race.
Every mile.
He said
That-
he passed you like you was standing still. He thought thought you were taking a break.
I probably was standing still waiting on Noah Bunch
Yeah.
to catch up. Yeah.
So we was scouting. It wasn't vacation. But nonetheless, we had a great scouting trip. It was big. It was real big.
Did y'all catch any fish?
We did. We caught a pile of fish.
Well, we went with the man that is the head honcho of the whole boat dock.
Yeah, Garrison runs that wharf down there. He's got the number one slip. He's dead in the center.
He
He runs that whole wharf.
the whole wharf on lock.
He does.
He moves them boats around where they need to be.
Yeah. Yeah, Garrison is the man.
Yeah, we caught a daggone mess of
We
fish.
did inshore fishing and a little bit of just very 3 or 4 miles offshore.
What time did y'all get started?
6:30.
That's not too bad. Those stinking fishermen, a lot of times, they like to get out there way too early.
Yeah, this was perfect time.
Yeah.
Perfect weather. Oh, it was awesome.
We could have caught a lot more fish had Dad not petered out so early. You know,
Yeah.
the last several holes he didn't even fish.
Yeah. No, he
Well, I heard a chair flew off the top of the boat and hit him, and he had a meltdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to kill him.
I heard he brought bananas out there. You don't do that.
No.
Now on the way down there, I realized something about you, even though you wasn't on the trip, and I owe you a big apology about some thoughts about Chad that's been going through my head since I've
You
come.
owe me a lot of apologies.
Since I've come to work here, I'm like, this is the most pickiest eater I've ever seen in my life. Like he's got to eat at these spectacular places, and he puts a lot of pressure on Chili to look these places up, and it better be grand, and if it ain't, this and that. And good grief, Chad is a picky eater. Well, I learned why you're a picky eater. So we get to going down there, and we pushing hard. We trying to get down there, scout this, bike ride out. We pushing hard, son. And
We worked up a sweat.
we did. And so we get way too far to stop and get a decent lunch in Eufaula, Alabama.
Uvalda.
Eufaula? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're like, Dad, Bum, we're going to have to stop down here in Dothan. Well, your daddy says,
That's the
man,
peanut
there's a good barbecue place down there in Dothan's been open since the 40s.
Look, man.
It's good. So we're like,
He said, I ate there last year with Nan.
Yeah, he did. He did. And he said, it's real good. Said, all right, we'll eat some barbecue. So we pull up to Dobbs Barbecue in Dothan, Alabama. Dothan is a miserable place, by the way.
All of Alabama is.
Peanut capital of the world.
They do got a big old ginormous peanut on the side.
World's
of the road.
largest peanut.
Yeah.
I got a picture with it.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big goober.
And so we roll up to Dobbs Barbecue in Dothan, Alabama. And
What did it look like?
Well,
It looked like
two
one of,
doors.
yeah,
Coming from the entrance.
it's a brick building, and it looks like one of those old 60s elementary schools. You know, it's got the big glass door with the steel frame on the sides, you know, the silver frame, and you open up and you walk in the door. One door to the right says dine in. The other one to the left says takeout. Blake says, we'll just get it to go because we're pushing hard. We got to get this scouting done. So we go in through the takeout, except it leads you to the exact same spot the dine-in does. And James is like, we got to eat here, sit down. The ceiling.
Why did he go off of his recommendation?
The ceiling
Bad idea.
is 6'3" in the entire place.
Oh my God!
You
Corn
cannot
scrubbed his head.
You cannot. I couldn't take my hat off my head because the ceiling would have locked it to my head. That's how. And there's mold spores all over the place. The tables inside this place look like a lunch cafeteria from 1960. And the chair, I was immediately mesmerized. I felt like I had went back in time.
Was it segregated?
It had to have been at one point for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You go, and the ceilings are like that. It's got the wood plank, you know, sidings on the inside of it, the boards on the side, and it's got big largemouth bass, you know, on the sides of the walls. Immediately mesmerized.
We went into a trance.
Yeah. I'm like, I couldn't turn around and walk out. Like
he was trying to turn around and it wouldn't let him.
Yeah. It's got a bar sitting up there with bar stools, you know, and there's 3 or 4 people up there hobnobbing. We sat down and your daddy's talking about how good this place is going to be. It's just going to be the best barbecue we've ever ate. We look at the menu. Me and Blake's already like, I don't know about this
We
joint.
wanted to leave, but it wouldn't let us.
We was in like this void, this warp zone, this orbital. You couldn't turn around and leave. And so we order a barbecue plate. Me, your daddy, and Blake order a barbecue plate. Eric orders a plain hamburger with nothing on it, nothing at all. The woman said, you don't want no cheese? He's like, no cheese.
It's meat and bread.
Meat and bread.
And
They bring me this Brunswick stew out first, and it wasn't even stew. It was goo. Like they had 5 packs of saltine crackers sitting on this big saucer with this small bowl of goo. I take the saltine cracker and put it on the top, and it don't even sink down in the Brunswick stew. Still mesmerized. They bring the rest of the food out, the barbecue plates, and Eric's hamburger that was on. These plates and stuff were old, son, old as the hills. I'm talking old. And Blake had asked me, he said, you don't drink out of a straw? And I said, no, why? And we get to sipping, and I look at my glass, and my glass was filmed with grease, cigarette smoke. I mean, you name it.
And boy, Corn, he slurped that down. He was lipping that. He was lipping that cup.
No, I didn't either.
He was lipping that
I
thing.
put a straw in it and took maybe one more sip. They set that food down. They set Eric's hamburger down.
They just kind of tossed it down there.
And Eric looked at it like, what in the world, man?
A
You could tell it
presentation.
was a frozen patty. No presentation on nothing. And your daddy sits back and laughs at Eric. Ours looks like dog
slop.
food. Like, seriously. And your daddy says, Eric, look at that nasty looking hamburger. We sitting here with all this good looking food.
Corn fell out on the floor laughing when he said that.
Mesmerized, dude. This place will mesmerize you. I couldn't get up and leave. I ate. And it was.
You sopped it up.
It
boy.
was.
I had to tell him to stop. I said, Corn,
Don't say
Stop.
it was good.
No, it was not good.
I said, Corn, stop eating that stew. And he said, well, let me just get one more dip with this Hawaiian roll.
They bring in these mini Hawaiian rolls that I know they got at the Circle K. I mean,
Well, they had expired.
yeah.
That was free.
Bread store.
I'm looking up at the air vents, dude, and I mean the mold is alive coming out. It's like looking down, pointing at you like, you gonna finish that? Finally, we get done eating. We go into the bathroom, man, and the bathroom by far was I needed a polio shot just to get out of that place. It was rough, son. Rust everywhere. Smelled like the flamingos at the zoo. I mean, just smelled like nasty bird pee and urine.
It's worse than the ball field.
Can't stand bird piss.
What did I say when I got in the car out there? I said, I owe Chad an apology. I said, I know now if James did that to Chad his whole life, that's why Chad has got to eat at the best place there ever is. Because that was rough.
Well, Corn, another reason is why would you not want to eat? I mean, you just go off on James Rite restaurant service and you go end up somewhere like that. You don't want that.
I was mesmerized in that place. I felt like a turd after I felt like I should have stomped my own head when I was a puppy.
Yeah,
Whoa.
you would be.
Whoa.
You literally would have been better off just not to eat. You would have been better off just to say, I'm going to fast.
We would have been better off to cancel the trip, turn around, and come home.
But you never been in Dobbs, so you don't know the
allure it has.
I mean, just the way it sucks you in. You can't not eat it.
I'm serious, dude.
We was saying, Corn, Blake, we don't need to eat this. And as we were saying that, the fork was coming up to our mouth. Eric was the only one that was able to resist it.
That's how they've stayed in business. They've got some sort of wizardry.
he didn't eat it?
You know, on SpongeBob, when he goes to take a bite of something and it cuts to his mouth and it looks like horse teeth and he's going to get that one little nibble? That's what Eric did on the edge of that burger like this.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And then he put it down and he covered it up with his bun and put his napkin over top so he wouldn't be questioned about it, because he knew had he gotten questioned, he would have had to have
I think what it was is that dang wizardry that somebody has in there couldn't get through Eric's afro into his skull like it did us.
It hung that mold up.
Yeah. That was rough, dude. So I apologize, Chad. I understand why you are the culinary connoisseur that you are, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just flat out not going to eat at a place like that.
Well,
you would. I'm not going to go into a place like that.
I kept telling Blake I'd give $100 for Chad to be here right now. I'd give anybody $100 to see Chad's face just when we walked in the door, son.
Well, it wouldn't have been that spectacular because we've been in a Mexican house like that. You remember that? Well, I'm sure it wasn't quite as. This is probably worse.
Yeah.
But that place was nasty. Yeah. And when we just went in there, Chad he's calm. Nope. Walk right out. That's all he would have done.
Well,
I think the problem with this place is you couldn't walk out.
It was like the Hotel California.
Well, what were you going to do then? What would you have done?
Well, it sounds like in there I would have ate. I mean, it sounds like the way they're describing it, you couldn't not eat.
Your
like
ticket
once you walked in there.
He's eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you walked in there, you pretty much, whatever wizardry they have going on down there at Dobbs, they've got some sort of spell cast in there. We need the Pope down there with that daggone scepter.
Well,
yeah.
I'll head down there.
You know?
I'll go into Dobbs and not eat.
You ain't
going
to be able to wear your Pope hat. The ceiling ain't tall enough.
And
if you
probably
do,
why they designed it that way.
The mold's going to jerk it off your head.
Yeah, I'm going to scrape my head on the top of the ceiling. Sounds like, well,
Alabama, man.
That place was rough.
Alabama's just all around rough, full of pores. You know, was it expensive?
No, it wasn't high. It was like $14 for a barbecue plate or something like that.
Well, that's pretty high for some crap that looks like dog food.
Oh, and that's no exaggeration. I mean, that it wasn't stew, it was goo.
Dude, what is with these stinking restaurants, man? Okay, we all went out and ate, me, Blake, and his family, and my wife, we all went and ate at Harvest Moon the other day. I mean, it was like what I ordered anyways. I don't know how Blake's was, but what I ordered, you couldn't eat it. Like, how are you going to serve something at a restaurant that you can't eat? Like, it's just terrible. Like, there's so many places like that here in Rome, too. They're just terrible. Like, what are you thinking? How do these places even stay in business? I guess it's because idiots like us go and eat at them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, remember Eric was talking about that Jimmy John's where Him and his boys went in there to
Firehouse.
to get something to eat, and one that they had ate at before regular, and went in there, and the sandwich just wouldn't now count. So they brought it back in and was like, we can't even eat this. And they literally told him, yeah, we switched distributors about 3 months ago, and it ain't been right ever since. But they just keep on rolling.
Mm-hmm. Have you noticed how nasty Harvest Moon is getting inside, Blake?
Yeah.
You know, when you walk back to the bathroom, that little
stinks.
office there, and it's just that used to be a suitable place to go and eat.
Yeah, it went down a lot since we'd been in there last.
I mean, it's just flat out freaking nasty, dude.
I ain't going back there.
No, I'm not going back there either, I don't think, Bubba. I don't think I'm going back there.
Man, you've got a lot of places on the hit list around here.
There's nothing to eat in Rome. I mean, Aventine is decent, has a decent lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Their dinner's just a salt pot. People just put so much, their food tastes like crap, so they just put salt on it. And everything just tastes like salt. You know? But I guess I'd rather live in Rome than filthy Chattanooga.
Now, when we got down to Panama, we did some pretty good eating down there.
Yeah, it was over.
Well, look,
decent. It was good.
Look, I've heard enough about
On
this
our
stupid
vacation
fishing trip.
We
Yeah.
went down that scouting trip.
Yeah.
We worked so dad blame hard. We
Yeah.
went and scouted the beach and all whatnot.
Yeah.
Look, I've heard enough about this stupid fishing trip.
Corn ran him some miles on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
That was some ankle breaking stuff. You can't run.
Did you feel like Rocky?
Well, that was my plan, that me and Blake was going to be Apollo Creed and I was going to be Rocky, and we was going to run side each other on the beach until I learned that beach, number one, there was too many folks down there, period.
Corn got real nervous when he got on the beach.
The beach come out straight
can't swim.
and then drops off like a cliff on this, like a ravine.
Ravine.
Right? So we had to run on the high side, and that sand was too loose. And
Look,
I like
Corn-
to broke my ankle
No,
slap
dude,
off.
shut up
Like
with that
the-
crap, Corn. I ran in
He
soft
said we looked
sand.
like SpongeBob and Patrick out there.
I ran in soft sand every day for 6 months, Cornbread. There's nothing wrong with running in soft sand, man. You need
No, you didn't run in this. That's why you didn't go down there. You knew how rough this scouting trip was going to be. You ain't never run in this.
They ain't no soft sand on the West Coast anyways. That's all hard sand.
That's
the
right,
Pacific.
man. That
He
even-
ain't never
that ain't
ran
even
on the
real.
Gulf.
That ain't even real sand.
No, they haul
That's
that
real
in.
sand. We're scouting, dude.
Look, man, me and Chili have heard enough of this bull crap. I doubt there's anybody even listening to this anymore.
We got 520 people and several comments saying, I come here for stories like this.
See?
How did this many people start watching this? I just checked it a minute ago, and there was only 200 people watching. I
Because
figured
you was talking, and when I started talking, they got on there.
I figured it wouldn't be but 10 people
serious?
watching by now.
You serious?
All of
Y'all talking
Dothan,
about-
Alabama's tuning in.
Stupid daggone fishing trip, man. Look, y'all ain't doing that again, all right?
We got
Okay.
another one planned already. So
No.
When? August?
coming up, I can't say publicly, you know, people
Garrison
try to.
ain't gave us the date yet. Garrison's over all fishing now. All of it. He's the fishing czar. He's over
Well,
all of it.
I'm going down to see him. But it ain't gonna be. We're gonna do something legit. Y'all don't worry
You're gonna
about
do
it.
what Garrison tells you to do.
Well, that's exactly. Me and Corn, we going down in the fall to gig some flounder at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Now,
big.
I'll do that.
No, you ain't going.
Now, I'll
You
do
ain't
that.
going on that trip.
Me and Blake scouting something totally different.
Yeah.
Right, that's covert stuff right there.
Yeah, you ain't going. You ain't a part
Me
of
and
that.
Garrison going spearfishing.
No, he said he don't get. He don't know Garrison. He don't know. He don't know. He don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
Me and Garrison are going spearfishing on closed circuit dive rigs.
He quit doing that long ago.
Yeah, he don't do that.
He
no
only
more,
does that
man.
on special occasions.
Since he started running that wharf, he don't do that.
What's his boat called? In case people want to go fish with him, Blake.
Real Rosy Charters.
Real Rosy Charters. He did put y'all on the fish though.
Yeah,
sure
he
enough.
did really
We
good.
caught a lot of fish.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
really good. And he worked his tail off, man. He did a big run before he took us out, too. He's
Yeah.
legit.
Of course he did. He's not a freaking turd like you guys are.
That bum.
That bum, man.
Chili, dude. What? Okay,
Rough.
man. Chili.
I see you've been to the east, Chili.
I have.
Yeah, Chili and Coco drove all the way to daggone New Orleans the other day to eat a sandwich. Get that.
Cash
Eat a
money.
muflada.
What?
A muflada. Drove all the way to New Orleans in a Mazda 3 with no air condition to eat a sandwich.
Wow.
That's bomb, son.
Yep.
What you want me to say about that?
All right, dude.
I'm a traveling man.
Why'd you take the Mazda with no air? Coco ain't got no car?
Well, you know, the Mazda, we had supplemental air conditioning.
Their other choice is the Jeep, so they're good. They were smart to take the Mazda.
Got that fuel efficient.
You'd rather at least make it and not have air conditioning and break
me,
down. And
me and Jeff was trying to talk him into buying a new car yesterday. He wasn't hearing it.
well, of course.
Well, I got to, got to get that.
He's got to think about it for a year. That's the Jeff Cochran in him.
Got to get that fuel efficiency.
Yeah, he's got to think about it for at least a year before he actually buys one.
I can't get no truck.
Why?
Not yet, man. It's too high.
Every man needs a truck.
Well, I agree with that, but look.
Yeah.
sometimes
Look,
you
Bubba.
just gotta wait.
Look, Bubba. If you want a truck, I'll buy you a truck. Just let me know what you want.
Stop doing that. You going that'll about
What?
You got to quit being that way.
What? I mean, if you want a truck, man, I'll get you a truck. Just let me know.
I can buy one if I feel like it, but I ain't going to do it.
Okay. Look, man, Chili, what is going on with Papa Trump? He's a convicted felon now.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with this guy, man?
Well,
I mean, they've convicted this joker of, 34 felonies?
Mm-hmm.
Big Daddy Trump.
Yeah.
Did you see that, Corn?
I heard of it.
What are they going to do with this guy, man? You think they're going to lock him up?
Well, I think they will if the Pope tells them to. Look, man, what do you think's going to happen to him?
Well,
Ain't nothing happening to nobody.
Well, there's two theories out here, and you need to help me figure out which one's the most likely to be true.
Probably neither one.
So one theory is that this whole trial and everything, and this whole thing against Donald Trump is just all part of the show. It's just all it's just all part of the show, right? Yep. Well, then the other theory is actually that Trump the powers that be are actually afraid of him because he's not actually part of their system, and that they've legitimately weaponized the justice system to lock this dude up and eliminate any of their competition. Which, if the election is rigged like we all think it is, then that doesn't even make sense.
Do you think
because they're going to install whoever they want to install anyways. So it wouldn't even make sense to persecute your political opponent if the elections are rigged and they're going to install whoever they want to install.
You think the justice system is pure enough to actually persecute somebody like Trump and lock him up?
What do you mean pure enough?
Yeah, what do you mean?
They would never lock him up.
You mean corrupt enough?
No, you think they would actually ever lock him up?
Yeah, he's convicted of 34 felonies.
He's exempt from all of that. He ain't gonna never go to prison for none of that stuff.
Well, that's what I've come on here to talk about. What do y'all? So Blake, you think that? So they're supposed to sentence him sometime this month, I think.
Yeah.
So Blake, you don't think they're gonna lock him up?
No.
Okay. Well, he has been convicted. He's not just been accused.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Okay.
You got enough money and power, you ain't gonna get locked up for nothing. You can convict all you want.
What do you think he's gonna get? Like probation or something?
He won't get
you
nothing.
can appeal to the end of time.
He won't get nothing. He'll just roll on
So
with
as
life
long-
like he's always had.
As long as he is in an appeals process, they can't sentence him.
He's not going to prison. No, I mean, that's the process. If you just wanted to look at it legitimate and it was not at all a show, you're convicted on 34 felonies. What happens? Well, yeah, I mean, there'll be a huge process that's fought for a long time, and I think that's that could be going on as he's president. I mean, he could get elected during that process. I've said ad nauseum what I think about all of it. The system here, I mean, people, man, it's one of the most emotional things to talk about. And I was thinking the other day about how the climate, the political climate, if you will, of course, you know, it's history. It's 2,000 years ago. I don't know what it looked like that well. I wasn't there. But what were people looking for right before Jesus came to the earth? What did they, like, regardless of the Jews looking for a Messiah, what were people looking for at that time? They were looking for a political leader. There was political unrest. There was government oppression, right? Well, also, partially because of that, people at the time, Jews, were looking for a Messiah to come that would be a political leader to save the day.
Save their nation.
Yep, save their nation. Well, Jesus comes. He is the Messiah, but that is not what it looked like at all. I have to believe that right now, really, and this is one of those things that, yeah, it's always been, you know, the world's bad now. It's way worse than it ever was. You know, a lot of that I look at and go, well, it's the way it's been in all of the latter days, right? Ever since Jesus left the earth. But one thing that I do think is eerily similar now and a relatively new phenomenon, and when I say relatively new, I mean in the last 10, 15 years, is that we're looking again, there's political unrest, and we're looking again for a savior, a political savior, really bad. And a lot of people, I mean, it's the most emotional thing. And because if I sit here and then say that, if that's what you're looking for, you may not even realize that's what you're looking for, but you think that's Donald Trump, you're wrong. Well, people do not like that. And they go, well, it's better than the other option. But, you know, well, I don't know that. I mean, why do you know that? What is your reason for saying that? I have equal distrust for Donald Trump as I do Joe Biden. And some people, they can't get past that their taxes were lower, gas was lower, whatever else when Trump was president. So they just hear that and they think, you're equating the two, man. You think it was better. I just know it was better when Trump was in. Yeah, it was. But that's a part of the whole deal. That's a part of the whole deal. What people can't, I don't look at the surface level stuff. Does that stuff matter? Yes. If your gas is lower, what your taxes are, business, all of that matters. That's what affects you day to day. But talking from a high level view of what's really going on behind the scenes, it's actually not behind the scenes, but most people just don't pay attention to it. The same big policies, the same big moves that are happening, they're bipartisan. They happen regardless of what party is in there. There isn't actually, I don't like the term bipartisan because everyone says we need a third party and more parties than two. We don't have two now. We have one. We have one. We have the elite party. And Trump is in it just as much as Joe Biden. And we've talked about it on the podcast. Cornbread's talked about it. You can go back to Trump's presidency with certain things and if your day-to-day life better under that governance and that administration, sure. Were there deals made in the Middle East by Jared Kushner and his administration that were good, seemingly? There was peace in Israel? Yeah, that was good, man. The Abraham Accords, great. I think that would continue when Trump got in office. But I think there's more than meets the eye, and that's all I can tell you. And I mean, why I think that's more than meets the eye is because I can then go and look at the other policies that were instituted under Trump's administration. It's all leading down the same road. I mean, people think, the Joe Biden term has been a continuation of the Barack Obama presidency. Well, the Barack Obama policies and presidency never stopped. Trump didn't stop that. It all continued. The agendas that were being pushed, starting with that, never stopped. You were governed slightly different. And then some people will argue, well, what I don't get, what we're missing is that Donald Trump is the good guy in all of it. He's trying to stop that. That's sure not how I would go about it if I was trying to stop it. I wouldn't go about it that way. Now, maybe I'm just an idiot, and maybe he's going to come out on top because he knows way more than we do, and he's playing 4D chess. But I don't think so. That's why I've maintained for a long time that I believe this is a part of the process, just like the lead up to the last election with the COVID-19 whole plan. Donald Trump was president. They moved forward with this whole thing. It's not happening to Donald Trump. He's a part of it, man. He rolled with it all, with the vaccine, said what he needed to say. You get to the election, yeah, none of the elections. I mean, who's had trust in an election for a long time? You're dead wrong if you have. The election happens, you put in a freaking invalid as president. Donald Trump rolls back. It's quiet for a while. He's back again. But now he's convicted. Now he's going to prison. No, he's not. And anybody who knows the legal system knows he's not. No, he's not. You're leading up to the debates. He'll still be able to debate. He'll be in an appeals process. Who says you can't be elected president? You can be elected president from a jail cell. If he had to be, it ain't nothing invalidated by none of this. So he'll move through the same process. He'll pick a vice president, and they'll roll through. And I believe that that's who your president will be. And then I don't know what steps will go from there, but I've said before, I imagine there will be a continuation to the Abraham Accords. There will be more peace in the Middle East. War with Russia and Ukraine will stop. I mean, that's where I'm at with it, and that hasn't changed. I could be dead wrong. I'm not saying it's going to be peaceful forever. I just don't think a war is imminent. I think these things are going to take place before. But if you want my prediction, so to speak, yeah, a war will come.
So you don't think he's going to jail, and you don't think they're going to make him disappear or suicide him?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. But what is the evidence that Donald Trump is this good guy that's going against the system? Like, what's the evidence brought forth for that? Because
just the things he says.
Because he said things that you agree with?
Yeah, it's the things he says, yeah.
Okay. I mean, what about what he's done? I mean, why would you pay attention to what a politician said? Oh, wait, he's not a politician. Mm-hmm. Right. He's not a politician. Mm-hmm. He's just the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a politician. He's been a politician since he was young, man. It's exactly what a politician is and does, what he did leading up to his presidency. It's exactly what it is. It's like people who run for governor and their ads in the freaking TV are, oh, I'm not a politician, vote for me. Well, boy, vote for me better not be the succeeding statement to I'm not a politician. Sounds like a politician if you say vote for me.
I guess it would be a more accurate statement to say I'm not a career politician.
Yeah, that would be a more accurate statement. And then I would still disagree with that because he was a career politician, just not in office.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, no, there's and like all the like Trump gets exonerated for everything. Are the felonies, the 34 count felonies that he's on, legitimate? No. That's the thing, man. You can look at things critically. I'm not saying he should be locked up for these. Like, he shouldn't.
I'll tell you what, buddy. You mess with Stormy, it's gonna rain on you. You mess with Stormy, it's gonna rain on your parade.
Well, look, he
should have never messed with Stormy, dude.
But the problem is, he's not held to account by anybody for anything legitimate, man. Like, why are we not talking about his connection to Jeffrey Epstein and the Clintons? Why are we not talking about that? Why aren't we talking about these useless felonies that are freaking bullcrap and everyone knows they're illegitimate? Why aren't we talking about that? Why is that the distraction? All this does is help Trump.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the things that he's done that are literally legitimately evil and a problem. I mean, if you don't think he's like independent journalist, look him up. Whitney Webb, whoever you want to look up. I mean, he has connections to the man, to the whole deal. I mean, he funded the Clintons' campaigns years back, man. He's a career politician. He's a career lobbyist. That's all he is. I mean, he's got the full track record. What'd he do? He all of a sudden changed? People can change. They sure can. What's the evidence he's done that? Because he started talking different? I mean, I'm just not going to act like I think the dude's the savior or even a good guy. Why would I act like that and pretend that? Just because people like him or because he said something they liked or because he did something good or because he's a Republican. I can't do that, man. Like, what's going on with this? I could be dead wrong, but I think you're going to go through the dog and pony show of all this stuff that's been a dog and pony show for a long time. He's going to go to court constantly. He'll be in the news. He'll have his picture up there. It'll be every single day from here on out. What's going on with the court decision? What's the appeals process? What's happening? How does this? Some people will say, oh, this means he can't run. This means he can't be president. It don't mean none of that. Ballot's going to come around. Election's going to come around. And then it's my opinion that it's an installation anyway, and he'll be the president.
Yeah.
But he'll be the president, in my opinion, to continue the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, if you take a step back, it would help everything to keep swinging the pendulum back.
Yeah, yeah.
It would help it, man.
That's what causes the division.
Well, and it's what causes people on the right to stay appeased, man.
Yeah.
All the people right now that are pissed that Joe Biden's in office, you can put Trump in, piss the other side off, but see, this side that gets all whipped up and wants to start a revolution, nobody wants to start a revolution when Trump's back in office. They can lay back, baby.
You got to throw them a bone every
We
now
can
and
lay
then.
back, man. We got dude in. We got Big Daddy Trump in, man. We can just lay back. It's all going to be fixed now. No, it ain't. The same crap's going to keep happening, but you ain't going to pay attention.
Yep. You know, if I just can't help but think what a, you know, when a man is just living in sin and just sinning against himself, and he meets a woman named Stormy, and he says, "Oh yeah, this is it right here. Me and Stormy, we about to have a good time." I mean, do you not think that when you lay with a woman named Stormy, that it's gonna come around to bite you?
Good gosh, Chad.
And already knowing what Stormy was.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Papa Trump. When you got laid up with Stormy, I know you watching this, Papa Trump. When you got laid up with Stormy, did you think that was going to pan out for you? I mean, really, how stupid are you, man?
Well, I'm not here to, demonize or criticize all of his bad decisions in the past. I'm just saying the way I think it is. But you know what's funny about that is people will come away with this and think we're just Joe Biden supporters. That's all we are. Just a bunch of Joe Biden supporters. How, man? What have I said, or what has any of us said that is pro-Joe Biden or pro?
I don't support none of them.
Democrat.
I've been saying for years the whole dang thing needs to be slapped down to the foundations.
That's all that needs to happen.
Yeah, and people need to be strung up.
Yeah, that's your hope for the political system.
I've been saying that for years now.
Do you know Eugene V. Debs?
About 3 years.
1920, he ran for president from a jail cell for the Socialist Party.
He did do it, huh? So it's even been done.
He was a convicted felon.
Been done.
Did you also know that Adolf Hitler was locked up, politically persecuted, and he actually leveraged that to come to power?
Yeah, like, in my opinion, if Donald Trump gets put in prison, it will be for the same reason. I mean, either way, it's going to work out in his favor, this process. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And he would get out.
Yeah. What do you think about it, Corn?
Well, I think it's important to realize the word felony, like the felonies he's got aren't the felonies that what the average person thinks of when they hear felony.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't hauling 15 pounds of cocaine across the Mexican border. He wasn't trafficking kids. He didn't rape someone or murder someone or rob a bank.
Well, that's not what he's being accused of now.
Right, exactly. But it also, do y'all ever think that January the 6th. Though I'm not saying there weren't plants there. I'm not saying some of it wasn't set up. I'm not saying some of it wasn't raised up to be more than it was. I don't know. But do you think that it's possible that some of them said, "Whoa, Bubba, this is a little scary. These people are starting to pick up on what we're doing." Speaking of the election, what if they are like, all right, they gonna nut up when we steal this election again? So maybe we do got to try to move Papa Trump on down the line. When they realize we steal this one, January the 6th might just be a little pop in the pan. I'm not saying that's what it is. I've thought about that. You know, is there something to that?
So yeah, you're saying that potentially that the elites, the political powers that be, actually are getting to a place where they have some fear of the American people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility. Like, I wasn't there on January the 6th. You read a lot of stuff that, hey, this dude was at this rally and this dude was at this rally for the opposing sides, and here's the pictures of them, and he was one that come in and helped storm the Capitol, so he was a plant and this and that. I'm not saying it wasn't. It was. I don't know. I'm sure the Pelosi's and whatnot was scared to death, even not being in the building when it happened, just for personal safety.
Yeah, unless they knew it was happening because
exactly,
it was all orchestrated.
Yeah. And I'm not saying they didn't.
Yeah, there's no way to know for sure.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So I can't get past that. I mean,
Right.
I'm biased by that. Like, I think what I've looked at, seen, and researched in that, and there's really no question that there was a mix of plants and legitimate people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say everybody in that crowd was all agents, because that wasn't the case.
Right.
It just wasn't. But also, if you say there was no plant, I mean, it's documented there was.
Yeah, I agree.
So there was a mix. But then if you look at why the people, like what happened and the people that were there that were legitimately there, no, I don't think that scared nobody. It was a bunch of freaking half-tards, dude. Like, it didn't do anything. They walked in there. And largely because there was gates opened for them. That's as proven as with video footage as anything can be proven, is they were let in.
Right.
They were let into the building. And then they just walked in and took a tour.
Yeah.
And half of them were wearing freaking costumes like it was Halloween. So
strange, buddy.
So I mean,
strange.
Yeah, it was
weird.
orchestrated as much as anything could be orchestrated.
So the elephant in the room is that if Big Daddy Trump gets taken off the ballot, you know, see, there's going to be civil war, civil war, unrest, whatever it may be. Everyone knows how everyone done during COVID and whatnot, and we may all have our doubts in our mind that anyone would even do anything. I'm 100% confident that Chad would do what was right. I'm 100% confident you would. I'm confident in myself. We all have different responsibilities, families, and what. Do you not think that the elites think about there is going to be a straw that breaks this camel's back one day, or do you think they're just COVID was a test? They ain't going to do crap.
That's what I believe.
What is your opinion?
Man, it is really it's hard to say because, you know, the government, it is strange to me how the government does manipulate the conversations on the public platforms, the public square now, like YouTube, the platform that we're using, any social media app. The conversation is manipulated. Things are censored. You can say and you can't say certain things in this public arena. And if they weren't worried at all about people like us, then why would they try to censor the voices of people like us? So you do see some pushback and some manipulation over select few people who want to talk certain ways, which leads me to think that, well, maybe they are somewhat concerned that there's some group of people out there who could actually mount a resistance and overthrow us.
Yeah.
Left.
Well, really what it is it's just the mass formation thing. Like, they're not really scared per se, but you have to continue feeding so the majority of people are going to follow. If you don't do all of the media propaganda, well, then people may start thinking for themselves, and then you'd have an overwhelming majority think for themselves. And even if you're still not scared of that part of the population, you're not controlling it as well. You don't have these blind, dedicated followers. That's the purpose of it, is to just get as many as you can. Like, whoever podcast you want to say, well, that may start to make people a little bit resistant to what we're doing. So we've got to stop that. It's really not because you're scared of a resistance. It's just like, we've got to, like, this is the slow progression into this mass adoption of all of these policies. And it's like a brain infestation. So you have to shut it down. It's not like they think they're going to be overthrown.
Yeah, and on that, I do have to say, I would be surprised if the government really did fear a armed resistance in some sort of revolution, because I would be surprised if they feared it, because even I myself do not think that it's possible. So, like, when I look at the general public, here in the United States of America, when I just ride down the street of Rome, Georgia, and I look at the people who are the general public,
rough.
There's maybe, I mean, I'll go as far as to say that there's maybe 1 in 100 that can and will think for themselves, and that is physically fit and healthy enough to really do much of anything in terms of a true resistance. Like, when you look at the general public, there are so few people left who have the components and the intelligence and the physical ability to actually organize, mount, and execute some thing that would actually result in change, like major change. Like, I don't think it's possible anymore. I mean, dude, when I go to a park or something, and you just look at the people and just the quality of people is it's not good. It is not good, man. Maybe that's just, I don't think it is. I mean, maybe that's regionally. Maybe that's because I live here in the South or whatever. But man, it's just bad, man.
But to your question, Corn,
and then what we saw in 2020 and 2021, like holy crow, man. Like, do I really have any faith in the American public to stand up against anything after I saw that? No. Like, I have zero faith that the American public would actually stand up and mount any sort of real resistance against our government because of what I saw in 2020, 2021, 2022. It's just not there anymore. So I would be surprised if the powers that be had any fear of the American public when I myself look at the American public and say, there ain't no way, man.
Well, and that's why I think, scared or not, or if it's just for control purposes or not, because that's the thing, man, is it's not that you're scared of a revolution, it's just they want it to be less violent as possible. They do. I mean, they want a peaceful slip into slavery for everybody. And the best way to do that is to just keep you calm. Like, they manage the unrest. They always stir it up, but it's always managed. It's never let out of control. And I don't think they're scared of a resistance in that way, but I think they'd want it to be as controlled as possible. And truly, what Donald Trump did is create this mass division. Started with really Obama, right? And Trump just continued it. I mean, it was separating the two sides, making them polar, man.
Yeah.
He was so polarizing. Well, that's a good thing, really, for what they want to do, because then they can slowly bring things together through their policies. Like, you've got one side of that polar, like, okay, it's a polarized thing now, and the left is entirely in lockstep with the government agenda. Like, I mean, that's what that side is. And then the other side thinks they're against it. Well, then why you put Trump back in office is that will make the other side then slowly be brought over to the left that is completely controlled.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well,
like, why did people lay down during COVID? I have to believe part of that was, well, Trump's in office, man. He'll take care of it. He'll take care of it. Like, we got Trump in, man. What's going to happen under Trump? He told everybody to go stay at home and take the shot and do this and do that. I mean, some people still didn't do it, but, like, he told you to do that.
Yeah, right.
And you just were like, well, he's a good guy, man. Well, that's what's going to happen now is whatever needs to be pushed forward now. They had 4 years of Biden. Everybody's pissed. But then you just lay back and all the things you want to institute can go right in under your nose because you'll be like, Trump's in, he'll handle it. That's the government doing that. Trump's fighting it. Trump fought COVID, man. He fought against it, but they won. No, he didn't fight against it.
He didn't fight against it at
And he's
all.
not going to fight against the next thing, but you'll think he is because he's in. And then it'll go right on through, and you'll be like, well, darn. Fauci got us again. Yeah, Fauci and Trump and all of them. Nobody's fighting for you. Nobody's fighting against. Like, if you think there's this thing going on to where Donald Trump's in office and they're just going around his back doing all this stuff and he's fighting it. I mean, that was literally what QAnon was. The freaking internet psyop that caused the Capitol riot. And that's all that was, making them think that Trump had it under control. They just kept stringing it out. They had these dates. Well, on December 15th, Trump's going to do this, and you're going to see a press conference, and he's going to raise his left hand. And when he does that, that's the signal that he's you're taken care of. I mean, that was what was going on under a underground online forum, and it literally had thousands and probably tens of thousands of people bought in so much that, I mean, they believe that. And when you believe that, then stuff can keep happening in front of you, and then you can go online and read, well, but this is actually so Trump could get his foot in the door here, and then what's going to happen is he's going to come out with the skull of Nancy Pelosi, and then it's all good. And people just kept waiting on that day. Well, that day never came, but they were real quiet and waiting the whole time instead of mounting any resistance or speaking up or saying anything. They just said, he got it. Just lay on back. Watch this happen.
Oh, yeah.
Biden's a hologram. You know, and no, did hundreds of thousands or millions of people believe that? No. Did a lot of Trump supporters believe that? No, but that's still how they operate. Essentially waiting, like, you just wait, Bubba. He gonna come out with Hillary Clinton's skull one day, and it's all gonna be
Did
good.
people really believe this?
A lot.
He was going to come out with a skull?
A lot of people believe this. A lot of like more than you think, man.
Okay, well that really confirms what I just said about the general public.
A lot of people, believe QAnon.
You just look when you look at people, you just wonder like what is happening to humanity. Like when you just look at the state of the general public. Physically, mentally, emotionally, like what is happening to the general public? Like, why are people so freaking unhealthy and dumb? Well, I have to believe it's just a departure from faith in God. I have to believe that's what it is. It's inexplicable.
Yeah,
it's a departure from. It's like we consciously decided to just push God out of everything, and we are seeing the judgment of God on this nation right now. I truly believe obviously I truly believe when the Bible says the beginning of all wisdom is the fear of the Lord, and when we as a society departed from the knowledge of God, I just have to believe that that is the main driver of the degradation of all culture and society here in the United States of America and really around the world. You know, people want to. This applies everywhere. Go to a Muslim country. It is filth. Go to a Muslim country. It is just absolute freaking filth, man. So it ain't good, boys and girls. I believe the United States is going to continue to descend into essentially a third world environment where we have elite class and just all the poor slaves, which is what we all are now, just a bunch of poor slaves. Yeah, it ain't going to change, man.
Well, real quick, you know, I can say what I think all day long about anything, and of course I don't know nothing, but I'm very ignorant of what it's like to work in the military. I mean, I've never worked for or been close to any of that. But Navy Special Warfare celebrating Pride Month, I have to ask, because when you were in, it wasn't like it was today.
No, it was totally different when I joined the Navy. Yeah.
But I
joined the Navy under President Bush's administration.
Yep, all of Obama.
Yeah.
And then part of Trump, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
At the very end, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, what would it, okay, they're celebrating Pride Month, and you see all the ads, you see all the advertisements. Like, what would that look like for you if you were still, like, what does that look like for the guys in the teams or just in the, I mean, whatever, wherever your job is, whoever you are, like, what is it? I mean, it's probably nothing, right?
Well,
that's just public propaganda.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm sure it does. It's definitely probably within the teams of active duty guys. I'm sure it's a blow to their morale, you know, because so many guys that are active duty and that are doing that job right now. I mean, doing that job, you have to. These guys that are doing that job even still today, and all the guys who have done that job in the past, your whole entire life is dedicated to doing that job. I mean, you don't have anything else, man. Yeah. Like, you can't have a hobby. You can't have anything else but that job. That's your entire life. So you've dedicated your entire life to serving this organization, and then they come out and they post something as heinous as that, like they made a post, the rainbow, and talk, you know, these all integrity, dedication, this, that, pride. Yeah. And it's like, it's just got to be a blow to the morale for those guys that this organization that they've dedicated their entire lives to serving would come out and publicly attach themselves to such a heinous agenda as freaking Pride Month, man. So that's probably it. I mean, it's just a blow to morale, which I would have to imagine within that organization right now, morale is probably already just in the freaking dumps, man. I mean, also when I was in, especially in the early years, the public's perspective of military members was different. You notice that's changed.
Oh, yeah.
The public's perspective of people serving in the military has shifted, like, drastically, dude.
Mm-hmm. That comes in waves, it seems like.
Yeah, it does.
From being demonized for it
to being heroes,
to demonized to heroes. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, what happens is as the public's distrust of the government just continues to grow and grow and grow, as the public trusts the government less and less, they begin to also trust the people who are working for the government less and less. And that even filters all the way down to police officers.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was growing up, dude, everybody really had a lot of respect for police officers. I mean, people would buy their meals when they went out to eat, and they would thank them, and like, but that's all changed. So the distrust of our government is, I mean, at least in my lifetime, at an all-time absolute low. And so that being said, if you wear a uniform that represents any arm of government, either local or federal, I mean, that trickles down to you. And yeah, I mean, that affects morale within the military.
Yeah,
just like how the public, like, daggone, man, I'm out here freaking busting my butt every day, doing all this hard crap, training and deploying all around the world to, you know, for what I think is for my country, and my country like doesn't even appreciate it, what I'm doing. And so yeah, man, I think it's just a bust on the morale for those guys. And I don't know, man. When I joined the Navy I guess I joined the first time in 2007, like, there was still this sense within the SEAL teams of this warrior class. There was still this sense, like, if you were a SEAL, if you wore the trident and you were there at, you know, your team, you didn't have to, like, have a perfect haircut. You didn't have to wear the stupid, you know, garrison uniform. Like, you walked around in PT shorts and a T-shirt, and you just did your job, and everybody left you alone. And there were all these support elements that were there to kind of support you and enable you to do your job. But as the years went on, this idea of equality began to just
equity.
Yeah, it began to like infiltrate that culture, to where then you had the support people that their job was to support the operator, whether it was, you know, logistics or comms or cleaning weapons or engineering or cleaning the vehicles, or like all that stuff that has to happen for the operator to be able to go do his job. The support people began to really like hate on the operators, because they were like, wow, this guy, he's walking around in PT shorts and a T-shirt, and he don't do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm over here fueling his truck up for him. Well, they don't see that the dude's fueling the truck up, he gets to go home that night, and the operator is going out on a freaking training evolution starting at sundown, and he's worked all day, and then he's going to go out and train until 5 o'clock in the morning, and then he's going to get 2 hours of sleep, and he's going to get up the next day and do the same thing. Like, they weren't able to see what we did. And so there became this tension, and then this whole idea of, well, everybody's really equal, you know, like you don't have any special status as a warrior. You're just a cog in the wheel, man. And so then they started forcing the guys who did wear the trident, they started forcing them to be more just like the support personnel. And then the whole construct of this idea of this kind of warrior class just kind of, I just watched it kind of disintegrate.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, when I first joined the Navy, you wouldn't find a dude that wore a trident standing quarterdeck watch. Because like he had to do so much more than everybody else to earn the right to wear his trident. Like, if he had time off, if he wasn't training or deploying, he should be at home with his family.
Yeah.
But by the end of my time in the Navy, you were on a watch rotation as an operator. Like, you would go and stand quarterdeck watch all night long and just sit there and do nothing.
For no reason.
For no reason. And so that is just, I don't think it exists anymore, man.
Well, talk about a way to kill an organization.
I don't even know how they get people to sign up to do that job anymore. I think they're having problems doing it.
But what you just told me and explained, people wouldn't realize is even happening or understand the gravity of it back here in civilian life, because that's all about hierarchies and a hierarchical structure, and you're like what you just described is they're tearing that down.
Yeah.
And that sounds good and all in civilian life. It's like, well, hey man, don't put down the guy who fuels up your truck. He's equal to you, the operator. And it's like, yeah, on a basic human level, like just because you're
we're not going to disrespect them.
Right, like just because you're a Navy SEAL don't mean you're more valuable as a human being. But you're not, but you ain't the same, buddy. Yeah, you ain't doing the same job.
Yeah, and it didn't cost you near as much to be there.
Equal.
Yeah.
So to speak. Like you, and it's not glorifying anybody. It's just, that's just the reality of it, man. There's hierarchies to things. Like its status is a real thing. Like you don't, not everybody's treated the same or should be. If you do that, you get the results that is happening to the Navy. Mm-hmm. But we're doing it back here in civilian life too. And that's trickling into the, but that's a designed plan to kill it.
Yeah,
because
it's got to be killing it, man.
Because that's what's happening here, man. It's everybody's the same and has to be treated the same, regardless of, everybody's got to be paid the same. That's what socialism is, man. That's what, regardless of the job you do, everyone's got to be treated the same, have the same benefits, have this, have that. It's not equality. It's equity. And that's what's being pushed, and apparently it's being pushed within the military, which, way to kill it, man.
And I think the whole thing of them advertising and and tying in their identity with this Pride Month and everything is just right along the lines of that push for, oh no, we're all equal here.
Yeah.
Like, nah, there's equity. Like there's no warrior class. Like, that even there's so many aspects of that. Even the idea of, that's another thing that happened while I was toward the very end of my career, is they begin to allow females to apply to combat MOSs, right? And even they allowed females to apply to buds. Like that is so freaking heinous, dude.
Yeah.
It is so, like, just in reality, that is just heinous. But it's equity, right?
Yeah.
We can't say that you, because you're a female, like, we can't say that you can't go do this job, even though it's a reality that you can't go do this job and that you're going to impact the mission in a negative way. We can't actually. Yeah, it's just, we freaking live in this daggone just false reality.
Yeah, the upside down. Well, that's psychological warfare, though. I mean, that's intentional psychological warfare done to the public and done on special operations.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what that is. Because that hierarchy in whatever structure it is in civilian life, in the military, it's being torn down. And that sounds like a good thing to everybody, because you're like, well, hey, man, everybody's equal. Everybody's the same value. But that's not what it's about. It's about getting everything equitable and everything the exact same, so you're all the same oppressed class. Mm-hmm. It's not to build everybody up. When you have a hierarchy and you tear down the hierarchy, not everybody's brought up to the top level. Everybody's brought down to the bottom.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of it.
Yep. Yeah, it's bad, man. It's funny, too, how, like, all of that is happening to this warrior class, and they're tearing all that down. And then, we here on the outside, as prior members of those organizations, we continue to tear each other down out here, and then we're just contributing to the freaking degradation of the morale of the guys who are still doing that job. It's like, yeah, it's I don't see it being saved. Like, I don't see anything turning around in a good way, which is I don't know. It's kind of sad to say, but is what it is. Well, let's move on to our Patreon question. if you guys don't know, we have a Patreon page where we post a lot of cool content. Chili does a tip of the week now.
Yep.
Just started last week.
Coming tomorrow.
Yep. Cornbread posts some behind-the-scenes stuff. Blake and I, we do Resurrected every Sunday, which is a live call. And every week here on the podcast, we take a question from one of our Patreon members because Patreon is just a huge part of the sustainability of this podcast, of this YouTube channel. They are the few people out of millions of people who hopefully get something from our content. They are the few who choose to give back, and that's why all of this is able to happen. So we are happy to take their questions. We have a lot of amazing people over there on Patreon, and Resurrected is one of the favorite things. It is my favorite thing that I get to do. It has become that, and it's like the call we did Sunday, man. Like, I didn't want it to be over because we have these very meaningful conversations, and I get to hear from people, and we all get to join in and share with each other, and it's just so good. But here's the question that we have. I'll let Cornbread start off with this. As a Christian, now this is it, as a Christian, how do we deal with narcissistic people? I have a family member that lies, manipulates, and feeds off of others' emotions. I found you guys in the midst of working for this person. I truly love this person, but I can't have him in my life right now because I don't know the next move. So as a Christian, how do you deal with someone like this? This is a family member, not a spouse, but a family member. And I don't know. What do you think, CB? How do you respond? We've kind of touched on this a few times on the podcast because it's something that I think everybody deals with, man.
Well, he says he loves them, so I'm sure he still wants them in his life, though he said he can't be around them at the moment. I think it would be important, if you know they're lying, to confront them about whatever lie you know they're lying about. Not later, 2, 3, 4 days later, like right then. If they bust off with a lie, say, whoa, that didn't go that way, or that's not how it is. You know, I'm not saying I would caution the why are you doing that, but you don't want to lead anything that's going to lead to recrimination, and then all you're doing is arguing. You know, just say, hey, dude, that didn't happen that way. You know, why are you lying? Like, if we're going to do stuff together, if we're going to be involved and help each other live and go on and so forth, you can't be lying. Like, there's no need to lie to me. Mm-hmm. I think it'd just be blunt as it happens. You let that stuff eat on you so much, and then you're like, I can't be around this person. Why? I think if you love them, you're going to want to protect them in some way, and if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, I think you should even more so want to bring it to them. Say, hey, man, you're acting up. Why are you so egotistical right now? You know what? People get judgment mixed up. I think the enemy uses that word judgment to keep us from being open and honest.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he has taken that word judgment and twisted it so much. If it's reality and what is going on, and you know that to be reality, fact, then why would you not bring it to somebody you love? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well, because it's hard.
Yeah, it is. Most definitely it is hard because you don't want to get in your feelings. You don't want to let their feelings rise up. It's hard. You're fearing feelings that normally ain't even fact at that point. So my answer would be, as it arises, address it then. And now I'm clear, if you're around a bunch of other family members or whatnot, maybe that's not the correct time, but you got to handle it pretty quick.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, in that case, I would say it's a likely outcome that this individual, if he is confronted about his narcissism, lies or any of that stuff, I would say if you do confront this person, it's a likelihood that they will not take that on board and make any change. That maybe they will only get defensive. And so at that point, confronting them about these things is not an effective way forward.
Yeah, it becomes useful then.
Useless.
Yeah, then you're, hey, I got to cut you out, dude. You ain't working with me here.
Yeah.
You're negatively affecting me. You're rising me up every time we're around, and you're not meeting me in the middle here. Can't have it. But that's the point. It makes sense to me to cut somebody out.
Okay. What do you think, Blake? You got anything on this?
Well, I mean, yeah. Well,
thank you, Bubba. I'm glad you do.
The word, people get these words, and then they like to just label people and say, oh, well, that person's narcissistic or that person's this. And then they've put them into a box, and maybe you can do that, but I don't really think. I think you got to look at each person and situation in and of itself. And, yeah, the answer to me is you be around them and try to help them to the extent that you can. But then when it begins to drag you down and your family down, then you really can't. And I think you have to deal with those situations case by case by being led by the Holy Spirit, because maybe I can deal with someone a lot longer than corn can or chili can or vice versa, and to give the advice that you need to do it until this point and then leave, well, that everybody's got their own capacity. And so maybe it is you that is meant to help that person get through that hard time or whatever. So as a Christian, which is what he asked, I think you got to seek the Holy Spirit on how do I act moving forward, and in the times that you are around them, it's not going to be just to hang out. It's going to be like looking for opportunities to help show them the character of God, because you can't change them. I do think it would help to confront, like Corn said, but people don't change people. God changes people, and sometimes that's done a lot of times through the actions of others. That's been my experience, and that's biblical, and that's God's plan. And so that would be my advice to that person.
What do you think, Chill? You ever run into anything like this?
No, I don't. I mean, Blake touched on it. What is meant by, the person said, as a Christian, how do I deal with this person that I love that's a narcissist? Correct? I mean, I don't know what that means, really. Like, what is a narcissist? What do you mean by that? Like Blake said, I mean, that could mean...
Well, he provided some.
He provided some, but that could be a lot of different...
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like.
Lies, manipulates, and feeds off of others' emotions.
Yeah, well... I mean, how do you deal with someone lying and manipulating? Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. And like Blake said, would definitely be a case by case thing. But I mean, ultimately, what y'all are saying is about all you could say. Just generally for advice like that, I mean, you can't be around that. Something's got to change.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who this is to this person, like what the relationship is, but that has to be either, really, regardless, it's clearly someone close to them and that they love, like they said. So you have to communicate that as best you can. And then I understand that telling somebody that, they may go, well, what do you want me to communicate after communicating for so long and nothing changes, nothing happens? Well, then you're talking about getting to the point where you have to separate yourself from that situation.
I mean, there's this, I've seen posts on it. There's even comments on here like, oh, you got a narcissist, leave them alone and roll on with life. Yeah. And it's like, no, you can't treat people like that. I mean, there is sometimes that is required.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what if that's how God treated us?
Yeah.
Like, Corn, you messed up.
Yeah.
Moving on, Bubba.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for it. So, hate it for you. And so if you
Just
actually
depends on what all's. I mean,
and if you actually love the person, you got to ask yourself, am I asking this question because my desire is to get out of this because I don't like it? Or do I really want to help the person and I want to know what to do and how to be around them? And sometimes it might actually be harder to leave the person alone because you love them despite their actions, but that may be what's best to do. And then other times you might want to get out, but what's best to do is actually stick around. Regardless, as a Christian, you need to be praying for the person because prayer works. I mean, it's just the fact, it works. And so if you believe that, then you should be praying for the person. But it's not this all blanket. Anybody who's commented that, anything you see, you can't just say, oh, yep, they lie and manipulate, narcissist. See you, buddy.
yeah.
We'll see you later. You can't just abandon people like that.
Well, lies and sin or manipulation is sin. Didn't Jesus say if your brother sins against you, take it to him and say, hey, this is what went on. And if that don't work, take it to the church, and the church goes to him. I mean, Jesus literally told you how to deal with it.
Yeah,
I think it's important not to ignore it. But that don't mean to twist you getting your feelings hurt and saying someone sinned against you and really that ain't. You just got your feelings hurt.
And
I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but I've had people tick me off that didn't do nothing to me. Mm-hmm. And I went to them, and that did not end up well for either one of us. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And a lot of it depends.
You might be surprised what happens.
A lot of it depends on, it's not necessarily what the person's doing, but their willingness to change.
Right.
That's what's hard to deal with, is someone who is not willing to receive what it is that you've got or the help you're trying to get. And maybe that's what people are getting at. But you can't, because this person did this, see ya, but you keep showing up for them and you keep being there for them and they have no willingness to change and they're actually dragging you down. Then at that point, maybe you make the decision. But you can't, I try to dumb things down, if you want to use that term, because there's a lot of people that just hear one thing and they say, that's what I need to do. They don't think for themselves. And you still got, I mean, as bad as we hate it, we can't just blanket statement things and lead those people astray, because we're responsible for the words we say. And so, there is no do this. You deem them narcissist like it's some sort of test. Like I got the blood sample. Yep, narcissist right there. Leave them alone. I mean, just forget the dang word, man, and treat like the dude's not willing to change. He's dragging you down. Then maybe it's time to part ways for a bit. Maybe it's not on you. Maybe you're not the person to help them, or maybe nobody is because they're not willing to. So,
yeah, I think I definitely like Cornbread's advice, and I think it's a model that I've followed at times in my life too. Because I have ran into similar, not exact, but similar situations to this, where you have a family member who is causing a lot of discord within, your family unit. And I've kind of followed that same model. We've done things before where we've confronted those family members in a very deliberate way, and we actually brought my personal counselor into the conversation, and we all sat down and tried to, talk about this discord that's being caused by the actions of this family member. And that didn't work. It actually just blew up, made things even worse. And so then you realize, okay, well, I made an effort to take this head on, to reconcile this in the presence of a third party, another believer, by the way, another follower of Christ. And we make that effort, and it was like no chance of reconciliation. As a matter of fact, it just made things worse, like I said. So then at that point, then yes, we made the decision, well, we are going to cut this person out of our life. until there is some evidence of change in them and some hope for reconciliation. It's not like a forever decision. You know what I mean? Because that's like, you have to be practical about this. Like there is a point where you have to cut someone out of your life. But I think you have to understand, you have to be mature enough to understand, though, cutting someone out of your life doesn't mean you don't love them. And maybe, I don't know what level of maturity or discernment or whatever you want to call it, but I understand this. Like, it doesn't mean I don't love that person. I think we get confused about what love really is, like loving someone. Loving someone doesn't mean that I'm just going to be nice to you and accommodate you and your behavior. That's not what it means at all. Love is defined by Scripture in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, starting in verse 4. You guys can go read that if you're confused about the definition of love and what it practically looks like in your life. It's not a feeling, and it's not, like I said, just because you accommodate someone and all of their negativity and all of their behavior, that doesn't mean that you love them. That's not a representation of love. Just allowing them to continue to act this way and cause all this discord in your own family and your own environment. So, yeah, that's the path that we followed in the past is with people like this, sitting down with another believer who this individual is a counselor who knows how to manage these conversations. And if that person is in a place where they are ready to do that, then hopefully that will bring some healing and some change to the situation. But if they're not in a place where they're ready to do that or hear that, you're going to know right off the bat that, oh, all right, this ain't going to work. And you can make that decision moving forward to no longer have them in your life. And that doesn't mean that you don't love them. And if there is evidence at any point in the future that they have experienced change in their lives and the way they act and treat you and other people, then you should always be open to going back and revisiting the idea of potentially reconciling that relationship. That's my opinion on it.
Well, and I think too, you look at how, if you look at Jesus' life and the way he did things when he was on earth, he was selective with the people that he spent time with and that he went to. When he sent the disciples out, he sent them to a certain group of people first, and he said, we'll go to this other group of people later. And so in a way the Bible talks about not casting your pearls to swine. So I've always taken those things, like we only have a certain amount of capacity to do things. And so you don't want to use what God's given you, like stewarding your life almost. If you are expending all this energy on somebody who's not willing to change or receive what you have, then I think that's being a poor steward of the time and energy that God's given you, because there are people who are willing to change that do want your time and your energy. And so if you look at it in that light, we can take all of the labels out of it and just say, is this person receiving what I'm giving? Are they willing to change? Do they want this? Narcissist or not, put it out for anything. And if they're not, then don't be wasting what God's given you on somebody that's not willing to receive it.
I've thought about that verse a lot here lately, Blake, and that is Matthew chapter 7 and verse 6, where Jesus says, give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast your pearls before the swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and tear you. Mm-hmm. I've thought a lot about that verse. To be honest with you, man, That's why I think that's one reason that I love Resurrected so much, man, is because the Lord is doing such a great work in me. Thank him for that. He's doing such a great work in me. But it's like so many of the things that I'm experiencing, and you, Chili, Corn, you guys may disagree with this, but so many of the things that the Lord is teaching me and that I'm learning, I just feel like if I share these things, these deep things on like a truck talk or, you know, a public platform, it's just like people just aren't ready to hear it, and it just becomes a freaking a negative conversation in the comments. And it's like, I don't know, I've just thought about that so much, and that's why it's so nice to have the group that we have on Resurrected, because you can come there, and whether you're joining the call or whether you're hosting the call, as I do on Sundays, it's like everybody knows they can come there and they can talk about these things that the Lord is revealing to them, even if it involves hurt or some sort of shame, or if it involves a new revelation of something about the gospel or scripture that they never understood before. They can come there and they can talk about those things and know that they are going to receive positive and meaningful feedback. And so there's a lot of things that I want to share on a, you know, there's a part of me that desires to share them on a public forum like a truck talk or something, but then when you just look at the conversation around these certain topics, it's I did a truck talk not long ago on how your wife is the biggest part of your ministry, and sacrificing yourself to your wife is such a huge calling of the husband. And you read the comments, man, and it's like people just they're not ready for that, dude. They don't understand what that even means. They're just not even ready to hear that. And so then why do I even share that lesson with people on this public forum? And I don't know. That's been something I've been thinking about. I don't have the answer for it, but
well,
yeah, you know, and it as it applies to the conversation that we're having. I mean, I can think of people very similar to family members, very similar to this family member that this guy's dealing with, as he's described this person. And I think if I come to this person with like the message of the gospel, or I come to this person with this thing, it's like they're gonna do exactly what it says in verse 6. They're gonna trample it under their feet, and they're gonna turn and tear me apart for it. It's not gonna do anything. I don't know, man.
Well, there's different, you know, it's not a direct comparison, but if you look at the letters that the Apostle Paul wrote in the Bible to the churches, like he wasn't writing to Romans about what the Corinthians were doing. Like he was addressing the proper audience. And again, it's not a direct comparison, but believe it or not, you that are on YouTube are a certain audience and group of people versus the group of people that are listening on the audio version versus the people on Instagram versus the ones on Resurrect. And so, of course, yeah, you can have deeper conversation and reciprocal conversation on different platforms. But yeah, I mean, there are certain places to share certain things, and that's what I think of is like in the Bible, they're addressing the proper audience, and you have to read it in that way too. Like you have to understand the context of who it was written to and kind of what was going on and why is he saying these things. And So that, I mean, it's definitely important, and that all ties back into dealing with narcissists.
Yeah.
As you know, as that's what we deem some of those people, and because there's a point that you are just being a poor steward of what God gave you, because they'll do just like Chad read in the scripture there.
You know, Blake, you said something earlier too. You said people don't fix people. I think people need to understand what at least I think you mean by that. There are a lot of people that we are exposed to in our life that are going through really, really difficult things and hard times, and they're confused, and a lot of the difficulty that they're experiencing is due to their own actions. And it's very tempting for us to have conversations with these people, especially if they're family members, and you can clearly see why their life sucks so bad. Like, you can clearly see it. It's really difficult to be in the presence of those individuals and not want to give them advice. Mm-hmm. And so I've had to practice that very recently in my own life, to where I choose to go and be in the presence of broken people who are severely broken and confused, and go and be in their presence intentionally, with the only purpose of my presence being to love them. Like, and then when they come, but while you're there, they're going to come to you more than likely and try to rope you in to all the things that they're experiencing. And then immediately you want to give them some advice. But in all reality, sometimes the proper response is, I'm so sorry you're having to go through that. Like, I hate it that you're having to go through this. And that's it. I love you. I hate it that you're having to experience this. Even if you can see clearly what is probably causing the issues that they are experiencing in their own life. Like, because they're just not ready. They're just not ready to receive any advice. It's just, they're just not there, man. And so, yeah, people don't change people. And sometimes when you're around these people, like this individual that Guy is talking about here, like, you can be around him and just simply be around him and say, hey, my only purpose of being here is just so that hopefully this person sees Christ in me. That's it. It's not to give him advice. It's not to try to confront him. It's not to try to change him. But hopefully, me being here, he's going to see Christ in me. So, like, when that becomes your number one goal for being around this person, is, okay, hope he sees Christ in me during this time that we're together. It really shifts your whole perspective on the situation. So, I don't know if anybody got anything out of that, but last thing I want to say today is we have a whole sack full of these Nuff Said fingernail clippers. Darren sent these to us, right?
Yep.
Darren Johnson. He's coming out for round 2 on the Rob course, isn't he?
Yeah, so is his wife, Courtney.
Darren and Courtney are coming out for round 2. Darren sent us a whole sack full of these Nuff Said fingernail clippers. Thank you, Darren.
What about your goggles, Corn?
Chad's done something with them.
You've donned.
No, they're right over there. Yeah, they're right over there.
Yeah, y'all don't mess with my goggles.
I just thought these fingernail clippers were so cool, man, because I actually have to cut my fingernails today. And I'm taking these with me.
Enough said.
It's a nice set of fingernail clippers.
Well, you like long fingernails on men.
Well, that sticker was pretty cool, too.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah.
I'll have to check out the stickers. I haven't even seen the stickers yet.
Sticker of you kicking the devil in the balls?
That thing's bad to the bone.
All right, I'm going to check that out. But anyways, we got a whole daggone sack full of these.
We might start putting some in some orders.
Can you guys start dropping some of these in orders?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to start. you guys, if you've ordered from this point forward, if you order a hat or a T-shirt or something from the store,
You might get one of
you
those.
very possibly will receive a limited set of Nuff Said fingernail clippers, which is a big deal.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah,
You
this
hate
is a big
long
deal.
fingernails.
I'm pretty
Maybe a
sure
sticker.
these are the ones too. These will actually capture your clippings in this thing right here.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, high tech, man.
Then you ain't got to lay around in them in your bed.
I need
when
them
you
for my
clipping them laying
toes.
in
Will they
bed.
clip toenails too?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about your toenails, CB.
He's got nice toes. I've
do.
seen them.
I do.
They're just fine.
All right.
Chad cuts his fingernails indoors.
I've got to use the restroom, Blake. Are you going to go over the super chats?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I got a couple other things to say, too. I ain't done.
Oh, whoa.
I ain't done. So hurry up, man.
Well, no, so go ahead. Say it.
Well, yeah, I'm just telling him.
Say it, man.
Well, I was just thinking,
Say it.
you know, when we was talking about all of that stuff in the beginning about politics and this and that, you know, everybody can get whipped up
Yeah.
on all that stuff and begin to focus on it more than they should. And I just think it should be noted. I thought I'd read this scripture here. It says, y'all know this one, vanity of vanities, says the preacher. All vanity of vanities, all is vanity.
Ecclesiastes.
What advantage does man have in all his work which he does under the sun? A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets, and hastening to its place, it rises there again. Blowing toward the south, then toward the north, the wind continues swirling along, and its circular courses the wind returns. And it continues to go through these things that just happen in the earth. The sun rising, setting, wind blowing, rivers flowing, all of these things. And it just, you know, when we talk about those things like they're worth talking about, but people get so whipped up and consumed over them, then that actually becomes everything to them. And even the things that we do in life, the goals we have that are good goals and the things we want to do, activities we want to participate in, and then come along, somebody dies or something tragic happens, and it always reminds you, well, that's just life. And it puts into perspective and you think, man, all that crap I've been so concerned with about Donald Trump, I might die tomorrow, and none of that crap matters a lick. It don't matter a lick. What matters is my heart and the way that I've acted toward other people, and hopefully I've left an impact on them for the better, for eternal, and not for I changed their mind on Donald Trump or I got this thing done and inspired somebody. Well, maybe and then they went and did something like that's a good thing, but it's not the end all be all, and it can't be your main focus. And anytime I start to either be involved in that conversation or be around it, I always want to mention that the sun rises and it sets, and it hastens right back to where it rises again, and it does the same thing. And really everything is pretty much meaningless in the end, except the things that are eternal that go on forever. And so I didn't want to leave that conversation where it was without saying that, because some people will leave here ticked off and whipped up and then be, you know, going on about that. And even saying this, those people, probably most of the people that are going to do that are still going to be that way. But maybe some of them that heard that got that way are not, and can refer back to that and think of that. So I didn't want to leave that where it was.
Well, I got a quick question. Do you think there's, you know, we just kind of get caught up in talking about that sometimes.
Yeah.
Is the utility of those conversations just to speculate, or is it to find the possibility of a solution?
Oh, I can answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the utility of the conversation is just for speculation.
Right.
Because it's literally just, it's a superfluous conversation that is, I guess you could say, fun.
Yeah.
Well, I would also say it has more than that, because you can get people riled up in that and then leave them hanging, or you can hopefully say something like this, and maybe at least one person realizes, dang, I've been doing that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do those things to draw that out in them, but then if you can share some truth in the midst of that, you've got their ear. Hopefully you can share some truth, and even if one person is like, man, all right, yeah, I see that now. I see where I'm doing that in other place. I see where I'm not focusing on the things that are of eternal benefit, then I think it serves some purpose in that manner also. So it's not like a bait and switch, but in a way it kind of is. Like, so.
Yeah, there's no solution for humanity apart from the gospel.
And the other thing I was going to ask you, Chad, you can respond to this or not, but there was several comments on here about some podcast was talking about you yesterday, calling you the homeless seal or something. Everybody want to know what you think about it, and you could take that down the hole of gossip or not, or you could just not respond. But there was enough comments that I thought I'd at least ask you.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I expected to draw fire to myself with the content that I've been putting out on Truck Talk. As I'm as I'm talking about like how the conversations that are being had within the veteran community right now are potentially negatively impacting other veterans and people who are really struggling. Like all of this stuff of people trying to call people out who, they say they're freaking lying and this and that. And it's like, who freaking cares, man? Like, just trying to change the conversation and actually talk good about some people. I fully expected to draw fire to myself. So you guys will probably see, as things roll on, you will probably see some very hateful things said about me. I expect plenty of people to come out and attack me and attack who I am, what I stand for, attack me about things in my past. I want you to know that I expected that and that I am totally, totally at peace with that. I want you to know that you know what? I should probably release the podcast. I should probably release the episode I did on Resurrected on a public platform. I want you to know that I know that apart from Christ, I am just a wicked shell of a being. And I want you to know that I'm at a point in my life where my entire identity is rooted in who I am in Christ. I am totally ready to go into the lion's den. That's where I'm at. I mean, a couple years ago, I wasn't ready for that. So I will continue to draw fire onto myself. I'm totally not concerned about it. And people can literally say what they want to say about me. And you know what? A lot of the things that people say about me and who I am apart from Christ, or who I was apart from Christ, they're probably true. You think that? I mean, they might be true. I have been a horrible person apart from Christ. And you know, man, yeah, I'll leave it at that. So again, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I legitimately, like, I'm not just saying this to seem like I'm strong because I am actually very weak. I am very weak, and that's why I cling to Christ so tightly, is because I have been shown how weak I actually am. I don't know if you guys understand that. Like, until it's revealed to you how weak you actually are, you won't cling to Christ so tightly. As long as there's still something in you to where you feel like you can, you've got a little strength in you, you won't cling to him so tightly. But it has been revealed to me how weak I actually am. And I thank God, have been shown the gospel of Christ, and that is what I cling to. And that alone. And dude, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I guess that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah, I think that's enough. I'll hit this super chat and then we'll get in order, but this kind of pertains to that. This is Bearded Red Double Alt. He coming in at $10. He said, Chad and team, what good does it do to you give 1 second of your time thinking on those negative comments? Speak what you think is righteous and let people take that as they may. Stay present, guys. And I'll just say, because I'm the one who brought that up, is that I knew you would take it in the way of how you responded to it and not like respond to it out of anger. And so the whole point of bringing it up is I hope that you would take it in the way that you did, because we all get these things that people say about us and the way they feel about us and the way that we respond matters. And so people need to see people responding in that manner so they learn what is the right way to respond to people giving them what you might call hateful comments or mean comments or whatever you want to call it. And so the whole point in bringing it up was not to rile up some sort of gossip or spite or anything like that. It was to show, all right, people come out against you. How do you respond to that? So thank you for your super chat, Bearded Red.
Yeah, thank you, Bearded Red.
And then we had James Wright coming in at $1.99. He said, I've been to the East.
No, he ain't.
Oh, let me say this real quick. I grew up in a community where your reputation was everything. You know what the Lord has revealed to me? There's no hope in your reputation. There is no hope in your reputation. I don't cling to my reputation. There is no hope in your money. There is no hope in your intellect. There is no hope in your physical strength. There is no hope in your possessions. There's no hope in any of that. To the wind with my reputation. To the wind with my money. To the wind with my possessions. To the wind with my health. I have no hope in any of that. If you are clinging to your reputation, you will fail. If you are clinging to anything other than what the gospel says about you and what the gospel says about Christ and who you are in Christ, you will not last. It's a fool's errand. I was wrong most of my life. I've been wrong. So I wanted to share that with y'all.
We had Luscious Poseidon come in at $5. Thank y'all for what you do. I've lost 90 pounds and am training for a 100-miler. Be hard when it gets hard.
There you go.
Luscious Poseidon. And going back to James Wright, he ain't
He ain't been to the East.
He ain't been to the East. He's been to Dobbs.
Yeah.
But he ain't been to the East.
That's East Dothan.
He's been to East Dothan.
Dr. Phil's Eyebrows coming in at $19.99. How's moral this morning, gangsters? Are we getting some money?
Oh yeah, Dr. Phil's eyebrow. No, we're getting that money, boy.
Bigfoot is real coming in at $4.99. Chad, if you ever become sheriff, can you punish the fats for their lack of physical standards and accountability?
Dang, you running for sheriff?
Yeah, we will. We will have camps for the fats.
Whoa.
Whoa. Rehabilitation camps.
Okay.
For the fats. And we're going to get them back. We're going to get them back fit again. Don't you worry about that, buddy.
Corey West coming in at $1.99 said hello from West Virginia.
What's up, West Virginia?
Chad Robinson coming in at $9.99. He said success is the ability to find the will of God for your life and do it. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, baby. You
Tide.
know that. That's
Messed up
football,
at the
ain't it,
end.
Chili?
Yeah.
You should have never said that. That burnt that comment.
Don coming in at $4.99. I've heard Ed great things about the Waffle House in Rome, Georgia. LOL. Call ahead, tell him the Goat Father is coming. Don't go to Anthony Coodlin's. LOL.
There you go.
Good word, man. That's a really good string of words right there.
Anthony who? Kudalene?
Cuddlin's?
All right.
I'm not sure.
Good string of words.
Brian Gaines coming in at $99.99.
Whoa.
Dang, boy.
He said, I appreciate you guys.
I
Appreciate
appreciate
you,
you.
Brian.
Who is that? Garth Brooks' alter ego?
No, that's Chris.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's Chris,
Chris
Gaines.
Gaines. Brian Gaines. Right there.
We had Bullable come in at $4.99.
Volleyball.
He said, "Love the show. Do you mix HOIST for races or drink the pre-mixed stuff? How much water do you add if you mix it?"
Yeah,
That's all on the packet.
yeah. Usually, if we doing races, we do mix it with the powder. We just do one stick per 500 milliliter bottle.
Hey, say that name again, Blake.
Bullable.
Volleyball.
We had Don coming in at $49.99.
Good.
Don who?
night, Don.
Just Don. He said 34 charges based upon one charge. They don't know yet what that is, but it is coming soon to the next corrupt judge's bench. Once they pick the next jury, everyone has a family member or is in the Secret Service. Rigged, you think? Yeah.
Get him, Don. Get him, son.
We had Brooke Wright coming in at $1.
Good night, Brooke. Right?
Yep.
You know, Brooke listens to the podcast. She tried to turn on a old podcast from all of us on the drive home from Chattanooga yesterday, and I was like, "Baby, why are you listening to a podcast of us? Like, I can't do this."
That's wild. What'd she say?
She just $1. No words.
Well, that's about it.
Everybody
She
misses.
did text me and say that Chad ain't never packed one order.
Well, we know that.
Everybody misses Brooke on the podcast. I told Brooke to come in today and share a mic with Blake. I mean, no more than Blake says.
Look, man, she ain't gonna share a mic, man.
I can't run more than 4 mics out of this dang soundboard.
Wow.
So,
We had Chili Jr. come in at $4.99. He said, "I'd like to apologize to y'all except for Chad for being a turd, but I still want those freaking Fruity Pebbles."
Chili Jr.,
He's getting better week by week.
you going to apologize to everybody but me? All right. You don't
What
know.
are you gonna do?
I don't forget.
You ain't doing nothing.
I don't forget.
We got Don coming back in at $4.99.
Good
Don who?
night,
Just Don. He said, "Here, Washington actually only wanted on party originally. Food for thought. Love you guys."
There you go. That's what I was thinking a while ago.
Thank you, Don. That was a great statement.
We got
Federalist.
Don coming
He's
back
a
in
Federalist. Don who?
at $4.99. He said, "Okay, of David, read up on Saul, Samuel 2, covenant between Jonathan, Saul's son, and David."
Yep.
He said, "Okay, of David."
Mm-hmm.
That's
OKK of David.
That's Don who?
That's a good word.
That's just Don. We had Kiefer Hansen coming in at $4.99.
Thank you, Kiefer.
Doesn't matter who's president, everyone's still gonna be fat and lazy. Also, Chili, that new hat looking fresh, my boy.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I put it on this morning. I
Wait.
said, that's looking crisp. Fresh.
We had Mark Stoddard come in at $9.99. 2 powerful resurrections. Die to yourself, not being ashamed. Love you all. Nuff said.
Appreciate you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Davis Weingar coming in at $99.99.
Good night.
Again.
We had somewhere in
Crap,
Texas.
Davis.
Thank you, Davis.
Yeah. Somewhere in Texas come in at $10. 1 in 100 Americans is good odds, same as it's always been through history.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I've thought about that too, somewhere in Texas.
Well, I would call that an inaccurate statistic. It's 1 in 20,000.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Don, just Don, coming in at $4.99.
Don who?
On who?
Said, Chili, do these people hang out with the flat earthers?
Well, yeah, they do. Of course they do.
What? Don. Who is it? Just Don?
Yeah.
Are you a traveling man, Don?
Well, we'll have to see if he
Yeah,
is
he
or not.
didn't think about that, did he?
Want to know.
Willie Jenkins coming in at $5. He said Trump went along with the Coof narrative. As a fellow Georgian, I saw nothing but sheep. Maybe 1% refused to comply. We need to succeed and be sovereign.
Thank you, Willie.
Marty Bingham coming in at $9.99. He said test.
It worked, Marty. Chili's got that floating cup over there, and his camera's been turned off. He's been floating that cup around the whole time you've been reading these, Blake.
I know.
I just turned his camera back on.
We got Willie Jenkins coming in at $5. He said, here's a few bucks for some little Debbies. It's time for y'all boys to throw out the moon pies.
Well, yeah, I mean, look. Moon pie's that Chattanooga treat, but Little Debbie will always win out.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Always.
We had Chili Jr. come in at $1.99. He said Chad Wright and Chili C with a bunch of stars after it, 2024. I'm sure he's hiding y'all's family name.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Chili Jr.
It's
Oh,
my
it's
son.
Chili Jr. again. Chili Jr., I just farted over here, and it smells like a straight up turd. I mean, there must be a turd right in my butt coming right off. Air is passing
That's
right
a
around
good place for it
Whoa.
to be.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, Chili Jr., I think Chili Jr.'s running the Georgia Jewel 100. I think his first 100 is going to be my first 100, which I've always
I
wanted.
mean, I can't believe y'all can't smell this fart through this microphone. Y'all listening on here. I can't believe you can't smell this. Smell right now if you're watching this right now. Just sniff a little.
We had Cole Cunningham come in at $20.
Golly.
Said, good morning, boys.
Morning, Cole.
We had Don coming back in at $4.99, just Don.
Don who?
I'm dropping it hot today.
He said, Goat Father, are you including the elite meat in the support group for when you're leaving the teams, or was that an outer super group?
Whatever you say, Don. Whatever you say, buddy.
That's something to think about.
Yeah. You might be surprised, Don.
Marty Bingham coming in at $19.99 said something weird going on. Did y'all put a muzzle on me, or YouTube curt me off of some of my super chats?
Dang.
Dang,
Well, it
Marty.
ain't us,
it
Marty.
Ain't us, man. We're just doing the best we can over here.
We appreciate you super chat.
Yeah, thank you, Marty.
Texas Ted 73 come in at
Whoa.
$10. Said Amos 5:15, hate the wicked, love the good, establish judgment at the gate.
Thank you.
Chad Robinson come in at $4.99. Said Nick, my 8-year-old son wants to know how Shaky Legs is doing.
She's doing real good, buddy. Yep, that's my girl. She's doing real good. Fit as a fiddle.
Chili Jr. come in at $4.99. Said, well, could y'all read Romans 2:1? It talks a little on judgment regarding the question.
Well, we'll read that on the podcast maybe next week. Thanks for the suggestion.
You going to remember that?
Yeah, write it down, somebody.
We had Don come in at $4.99.
Don who?
Mark Twain never argues with stupid people. They will FD apostrophe SG you down
Just
to their level and be at you with experience.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mark Twain ever said that.
well,
That's what I was going to say.
that's in one of his writings that the public doesn't really get.
Yeah. Don's got that special copy.
Thanks for that, Don.
That's a one-off.
Thanks for that super chat. JB, $4.99.
Thank you, JB.
Eric Logan, $20.
Thank you, Eric.
Clock and Floor, $4.99.
There he is. Clock and
Morale
floor.
Booster, Decoy Super Chat.
Yep. Thank you.
There it
Clock and
is,
Floor.
boy.
Travis Van S, $9.99. Thank you for making an impact on my life. Missed the last 2 Resurrecteds, but I went back and listened to them. They were both exceptional. Love
Thank
you guys.
And yeah, thanks, Travis.
James Wright at $1.99. Thank y'all for taking me along on a fishing trip. You're welcome, James.
Jameson.
Muscled Up Runner Greer, $9.99. It only takes 1 pebble, Chad, so thank you for sharing. God bless and love y'all. Thank you,
brother.
Muscled Up Runner. Cody Oscar David coming in at $10. Popping in from work. Big love for y'all. Can't wait for the rock.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, buddy.
COD.
We got Don coming in at $9.99.
Don who?
Just Don. He said, no matter, sir, who is in office, sir, never give up in Christ, family, and Old Glory.
There you go.
Get
Don.
after it.
He consistent with the good words, ain't he?
Yeah, he really is, man.
Just Don.
Mark Porter coming in at $9.99. I challenge all to join your Patreon. It's worthwhile and time well spent. God bless.
Thank you, Mark.
Robert Lee coming in at $20.
Robert E. Lee?
Just Lee.
Oh.
There he is.
Do not give weight to the loud shouts of fools. You know better. We all see you obey God's prompting. I love you even more for Resurrected 130. Keep being the salt. You will not be thrown out and trampled.
I appreciate that, Robert.
James Wright come in at $4.99. He said,
James is busting out today, son.
Yeah, Mom's going to kick his butt.
He said, I'm very proud of y'all for allowing God to use y'all. Keep it up. God's going to use y'all in a big way.
Well, thank you, James. It's good that you're coming on here and not commenting about fishing trips now. I guess we have at least a 1-month reprieve from fishing trip comments from James Wright.
Little Virgil coming in at
I knew
$1.99.
he would.
LV.
Garrick coming in at $19.99. Thank you to everyone at 307 Project for all you do to help others. I can never repay you for what you've done in my life.
Well, praise the Lord, Garrett.
Thank you.
Robert Lee coming back in at $20.
Robert E. Lee?
No.
No.
You continuously throw your earthly glory at the feet of Christ. Where did you come from? A Navy SEAL, the bows to God. He came for you. We all will do so at judgment, but you are doing it now. Public sees it. Salty.
Good word, Rob Lee. Good word, man. Thank you for that.
A guy with a channel come in at $9.99. 2 weeks ago 2 weeks without alcohol. Never thought I could do it. Working on body, mind, and spirit. Thank you guys for what y'all do. To God the glory.
Thank
For
you.
you, brother.
Awesome,
That's huge.
brother.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, Guy.
And here we've got Don come back in
Don who?
at $4.99. He said, name's Don K. Or Donk, like in Crocodile Dundee. LOL. Enjoy. D word. Chad, that bio warfare? Question mark.
Mm-hmm.
Donk.
Yep.
Donk.
Yeah, you know Donk on Crocodile Dundee.
Honky tonk, but donkey donk. That's donk I know.
Dude, I need to go home and watch Crocodile Dundee. It's been years since I've seen it.
Whoa.
Fueled Outdoors coming at $20.
Dang. Well, thank you, Donk, and thank you, Fueled Outdoors.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.
Legacy Dent Co. come in at $49.99.
Dang, son.
Trying to tell you. Legacy. Dentco.
Chili Jr. $1.99 said, by the way, my last super was more a question.
Well, that's why we answered it. You didn't think about that, did you, Chili Jr.?
Don come back in at $4.99.
Don who?
He said, grab y'all a hat, grab y'all a shirt, keep Chili in the dungeon.
No.
Dang word predicts making me sounds read stupid.
It's just the way Blake reads.
That's all right, don't. Can't always get it right, buddy.
James Wright coming in at $1.99. Said we're going fishing again in 2 weeks.
All right, we're shutting this down.
And the last one, Rusty Leininger.
Leininger. Oh, yeah. I know him.
$10. Source One Serenity from Oregon. Charlie Mike.
Yep.
Thank you, Rusty.
That's it.
Well, all right, guys. We love y'all. Thanks again for tuning in. And Lord willing, we'll see you next week. Enough said.